Hi everyone, back for some more Meso moves, so we'll just get right into it. Hope everyone's doing good. I have my brand new Meso UK t-shirt on today, so I am completely on brand. Get yours on too if you so wish. We're going to start in with a mermaid stretch, and we're going to take our legs into this little 90-90 position. So the front shin is forward, and then your other leg, the shin of your other leg is towards the side of your body, and your two hands are just nice and in line with your hips. And we're looking here for a nice tall spine. So you try and release the hips down, come up nice and straight. You can use your hands, press into your hands a little bit lightly on the fingertips, reaching up through the crown of the head. The waist is nice and long. I'm going to stretch towards the leg that's away from us. So you're going to take a little breath in, and when you exhale, you raise your hand up to the side of your head, and then you tip your head, neck, and your upper mid back, and you take a little stretch out the side of the waist so the bum stays in contact with the floor. We're not lifting the bum cheeks off the, or the sit bones I should say, off the floor at all. We're stretching nice and long out of the sides of the waist. The ribs stay nice and square towards me. And this other hand can kind of move away to allow you to take that little side bend. And then you take that hand all the way back down. You float the other hand up. You just take a little counter stretch. So you bend the elbow of the opposite hand and take a little counter stretch. That's it, perfect. And then we're going to switch sides. So you bring your legs out in front of you and you just switch the position. So shin to the front, shin to the side. And we'll do the same thing again. Remember, we're stretching towards the shin of the leg that's to the side of us. So breathing in, we just float that hand up. At this point, make sure your shoulder is away from your ear. It's not way up here. There should be a nice space between the shoulder and the ear. And then we take a nice side stretch. So again, keep that sit bone down, that hip down. We're just reaching really up and out of the sides of the waist. We're going nice and long out of the side of the waist. There we go. Nice. You should feel a nice stretch up the side of the body. You can take some breaths into your rib cage here if that feels nice. Gives your thoracic spine a little stretch as well. If you take a few breaths here, the side is nice and open in the body. And hand all the way back down. And we take our little counter stretch, so bending the elbow, and we're just stretching the other way again, up and out the waist. And draw the shoulder down if it's kind of crept up here. It kind of has a tendency to do that, or naughty shoulders. And then all the way back down. From there, just bring your legs out in front of you. We're just going to give them a little swivel, if you like, from side to side. So really pressing into your hands. Again, you lift your breastbone so you're nice and proud through the chest. You're just going to take your knees both down to touch the floor, and then you're going to roll back over and take your knees down to touch the floor on the other side. So a little bit of hip mobility work here. This is nice. Again, if you've been sitting for an extended period of time, I definitely have, this will loosen up your hips a little bit. So we're moving them internally, externally, and you'll feel yourself just rolling over your sit bones, which is good. And you can keep pressing into the hands. Keep trying to lift the breastbone so don't sink into your spine. Nice and proud chest. Now you can see my Meso t-shirt in all its glory. Perfect. Good. And then from there, just coming to a nice stop. You can do as many of those as you want. You can pop down onto your mat and do those throughout the course of the day if you so wish. You can do any of these through the course of the day, of course. We're going to come down onto our back. So you remember, if you've watched any of the other Meso moves videos, we have a cushion so as our head is in a nice alignment with our spine if you need it. Hands behind the thighs, and you're just going to roll the spine down, coming into what we call a relaxation position. So head on the pillow if that's what you need. Just be mindful the head should not be tipped back, so there should be no chin up towards the ceiling. The neck is nice and neutral, nice and long on the back. And then we're in our nice neutral pelvis here. So the two hip bones should feel nice and even. If you were to place a spirit level or a cup of tea, or I think I said hand sanitizer the last time, onto your pelvis, it would stay full. So it wouldn't be any tipping onto your belly, and it equally wouldn't be tipping towards the floor the other way. So you're nice and level. So your lumbar curve is there, neck curve, rib cage, back of the pelvis, the sacrum, back of the head are all nice and heavy down into the mat. And we're just going to release the shoulders. We're going to release the hips with a little starfish. So opposite hand, opposite leg. Slide one leg away. Slide opposite arm overhead. Keep leg in line with the shoulder. Arm in line, leg in line with the hip, sorry. arm in line with the shoulder, really reach through the toes, reach through the fingers, and then we bring everything back to our start position. We take a little breath in. When we move, before we move, we think about drawing our abdominals down towards the spine just to give us a little bit of stability, protecting our spine as we move our limbs. So a few of those to each side. Again, with everything, if you aim to do like maybe 5 repetitions of each thing, but if you're feeling okay and you're enjoying it, you can do as many repetitions as you want before you move on to your next set. Just make sure you're even on both sides. So do an equal amount so you're not feeling imbalanced. And we're really reaching through the hands here, reaching through the toes, keeping that pelvis nice and level as we can, drawing the abs down. And then you come back to a nice finish, so back into your relaxation position. And then at this point, again, you just keep checking in that you're still nice and neutral through the pelvis. The heels, remember, should be quite close in towards your bum, so as it gives you that nice stable base of support. And with that, we're going to mobilise the shoulders on their own. So we're going to do an exercise called windows. So we float the arms up. At this point, make sure your shoulder blades are still in contact with the floor, so we're not elevated away up. We're going to bend to 90 degrees at the elbow. We're going to rotate our shoulders to take our palms to face the ceiling. And then we're going to go out in a straight line, gauging our abdominals. And then we're going to bring our arms all the way back up to our start position. So we're breathing in. We're drawing the elbows down to 90, they stay up off the floor. We rotate from the shoulder, back of the hands to the floor, palms to the ceiling, straight line out in line with the shoulder, and then float the arms all the way back up. So it's bend, rotate, extend, or flex I should say, and then all the way back to your start position. So again, you can do as many of these as you like. Aim for at least 5. Really good for your shoulder mobility, bending. Arms are active the whole time. At no point are we resting our arms on the floor. At this point, you should feel a nice stretch in the front and down the side. So really reach through the fingers as you sweep the arms back up to your start position. Floating the arms all the way back down to the side. We're going to bring our legs together and do some hip rolls. So just releasing around the low back now. So legs come together, so we seal up through the inner thigh. Going to take a little breath in, draw the abdominals down when you exhale, and then you're just going to use the abdominals to roll your pelvis. So the top leg, you'll remember if we did this last time, comes off the floor. You just release round the side of the body, and you're just rolling the pelvis, really just looking for the back of the ribs to come off the mat, and then you come back to your centre, each time making sure you've stayed nice and neutral. And then you take a breath and you exhale to go again on the opposite side. So relax the jaw, relax the shoulders. Just let the pelvis roll. So I'll do another one to each side. Try and keep the knees level as you roll. So only roll to where you can keep the knees level. Take a breath in here. Fill that side of the ribs for a nice stretch again in your thoracic spine. Back to centre. And then same again on the other side. So really lengthening around here. Nice and slow, do it nice and slow, breathe, use the out breath to relax the jaw, relax the shoulders, so don't bring the shoulders or anything else into it. Good. From there, come back to hip distance, so just separate the legs, so you can heel toe apart, whatever feels good. And from there, we're going to do a little spine curl, so we're going to like bridge up onto our back, and we're going to really just come up to the tips of the shoulder blades, no more from that. So you have the arms down, lengthened down by your side, and you can press a little bit into the back of the arms, but it's not a big press. Don't bring the shoulders into it. It's just for a little bit of support. Make sure those heels are close in towards your bum. You're going to take a little breath in. As you exhale, think about that bottle of hygiene fluid on your pelvis. You're going to tip it towards you. So now it would all be tipping out over your belly. And then you're going to start to roll the spine up piece by piece. So nice smooth action of the spine, just rolling up, tips of the shoulder blades. So you have a nice long line from the knees all the way up to the shoulders. Take a little breath in at the top there. And then you're going to place the spine back down, releasing from here first. So from the breastbone, as if you were dropping that breastbone in between the two sides of the ribs. You're landing the spine piece by piece. And then you roll the pelvis back to neutral. So breathing in to prepare, exhale, flatten the back into the mat, reeling the pelvis towards you. And then you just peel the spine up piece by piece, neck nice and neutral, so chin in line with the breastbone. You can press into the arms a bit, but really it's your glutes lifting you into this position. Take a little breath at the top, relax the shoulders and the jaw, and then start to soften through the breastbone as the spine wheels back down. So think about each vertebra in the spine. You're trying to land one piece by piece. So it's a nice sequential movement of the spine to get it nice and mobile. We'll do one more just like this. So flattening and rolling, smooth up. Taking a breath at the top, relaxing jaw and shoulders. Knees point forward. Try and keep the knees pointing forward as you soften back down. So trying to get a nice stretch in the spine as you release. And this is a lovely one. You could just do this like all afternoon. It's just so nice and releasing. Good. And releasing back to neutral. We're going to bring the arms and that move together. The only change we're going to make is instead of spine curling up, we're just going to bridge up. So instead of kind of flattening the back, you just literally press into your feet, engage your glutes, and you just open your hips by pressing your feet and your glutes to open the hips, yeah? So that's the only change. And then we're going to spine curl all the way back down. Remember, we will release back into neutral here. So we're going to bring the arms into it. So it's a little bit of a coordination challenge at the same time. So the start position is here. So the arms are up. Again, make sure those shoulder blades are nice and in contact with the mat. Take a little breath in. You're going to bridge up and bring your arms to 90 at the same time. So it looks like this. Breathing in, exhale, bridge up and draw the arms down to 90 at the same time. Yeah. From there, you hold the position of the bridge, rotate the arms as we did in the previous exercise. So palms now facing towards the ceiling. And then you're going to send your arms in your nice straight line. So we've done this already. And then at this point, leaving the arms where they are overhead in line with the shoulder, you now just wheel the spine back down. And it's a lovely big long stretch with the arms going one way and the spine being released back down to the mat piece by piece, release back to neutral, and then you just wheel the arms back up to finish. Yeah. So try that one. So breathing in. If you're following along, we'll do it together. Breathe in, exhale, bridge up, bend the elbows to 90 degrees, rotate the hands holding the bridge, rotate the shoulders, sorry, and then flex the shoulders to take the arms in line, straight line from the shoulder, holding that position. You then wheel the spine all the way back down, release back to neutral, and then bring the arms back in line with the shoulders. Perfect, yeah. So perfect, good. And then floating the arms back down from there. From there, we're going to roll onto our side, come into a little side lying position now with the body. So for side lying, we're going to do a little exercise called oyster, which works the hips and the glutes. So you stack your knees on top of each other, you stack your feet on top of each other. If I move up a bit so you can see that, yeah. And then the hips are stacked, the position of the upper body, if you have a cushion, bring it underneath your head and you're just lying long. So the underneath arm is out straight in line with the shoulder. You're resting your head on a cushion between your arm and your head. And then the position of the heels should be in line with your bum. So the back of the body is one straight line, head, ribs, pelvis and the feet. And then we have a nice V or a bend, the legs are out in front of us in a nice V here. So it's a kind of diamond shape of the legs. We have a nice long waist here, so make sure your underneath ribs are not crashing into the floor. Just lengthen the waist away, so you can take your hand to your hip and just actively press your hip away from the ground, from the opposite hip, and you should feel a little space. You know, you should be able to run your hand underneath your underneath waist and feel the little gap. Hand on the hip, and then you're just going to open and close that little leg on the top there. So pressing the feet together, so the feet were rolling on the inside edges here, and you press them as you open the leg. You should feel the glutes light up here, and ideally we're looking to do about 10 of these on each side. So always working both sides of the body, and it's just the hip opening and closing. The shoulders stay stacked, the hips stay stacked, the feet stay stacked, and you'll see the knees are stacked. So I'm just opening and closing the hip joint here. So we're really just rotating externally and then bringing the leg back down, and then it's the glute that's working to open the hip, muscles around the hip. and keep lengthening the waist away. So watch when you get tired at this, you don't lose this lengthening and then the waist crashes down. You'll see, you keep that nice open waistline. It gives you the nice long waist. Chin just stays in line with the breastbone, and keep trying to relax the jaw and relax the shoulders. And then on the last one, you just keep the knee open, and then you just do tiny little pulses back with the knee for a count of 10, and then you will feel the burn in the glutes. I can feel it now. Oh. And try and breathe through that and pretend it's not sore. Good. It's a good sore. And give your bum a little tap. And then make sure you do that on the other side as well. So once you've done that, you would hop onto your other side and you would set yourself up in exactly the same way. And you would do your oyster. This is called oyster. Stacking the body, stacking all the joints, hips, shoulders, knees, feet. And then you would come onto the other side and you would do that. And the whole time you're pulling the abdominals down towards the spine and opening and closing. So actively press the feet together as the hip opens, and you will feel your glutes engage. And the waist is nice and long. We've got a little gap under here. So we're nice and connected in the front. Smile through it as best you can. Good. Good. And then on your last one, remember we're doing 10, and then you just do your little pulses with the leg open. So the glutes really working hard here. Keep the waist nice and long. Breathe through it. Keep the shoulders away from the ears. Keep relaxed in the upper body. Shoulders, jaw always being overworked. And then just finishing there with the stack. Perfect. Going to come onto our front. Do a little bit of extension work. So position here is nice and long. So unfortunately, I'm not sure you'll be able to see my whole body. But my legs are just hip distance and parallel. And you can use your hands here. We're just going to do a little exercise called diamond press, which is just to work the upper mid-back. So the two little spaces in between the shoulder blades. Just going to rest the forehead down. So the position of the hands, you make like a little diamond shape with the hands. And all you're going to do is just rest your forehead down in between that little diamond shape. And the elbows are nice and wide, so you're nice and relaxed through the upper body. It's hard to see what's happening in my body with this t-shirt. Good. And you're nice and relaxed here. The shoulders are relaxed, pelvis is relaxed. Try and focus on releasing the ribs into the mat. So again, it's like relaxation position, but on the other side of the body. Just releasing down there. And then all we're going to do, take a little breath in, draw the abdominals up away from the mat. So that kind of sensation of lifting your belly button away from the floor. And you're engaging your abdominals there to protect your lumbar spine here in this, this is called a prone position, so face down. All you're going to do is press into the floor with the forearm to give you a little bit of support. And then you're just going to lift head, neck, and then keep pressing down as you lift the upper mid-back. So almost imagine you're kind of raising up to shine a light that's on your breastbone here forward. So the lumbar spine stays completely quiet. It's just an extension of the upper mid-back. It's quite difficult to get, and then lower back down. Nice and slow. This is not height. We're not looking to come up high. We're lengthening really forward through the breastbone as we extend up. Ribs are down, abs are in towards the spine. And really pressing into the arms to give you that little lift. You might feel this underneath the armpits. And it's really this kind of upper mid-back, you'll see when I come down there, that we're targeting. So this part of the spine here, the part in between the two shoulder blades, is all we're looking to mobilise with this. And it can get really tight in there for various different reasons. So just a little mobility there, upper mid-thoracic spine. Breathing in, exhale, draw the abdominals up, press into the forearms lightly as you lift head, neck, then that upper mid-back. Again, really think about lengthening up. So almost like the breastbone is shining forward, and feel your back muscles engage around your shoulder blade, around the scapula as you do that. And then you resting back down. Again, try and do 5. And if it's feeling okay, you should not feel this in your low back at any point at all. If you are, then it's not quite working out, in which case I would stop. But just keep it small. The trick is to keep it small. And then you take a counter stretch from that extension. So we flex the spine. We come into rest position, or child's pose, as they might call it in yoga. So take the forehead to the mat if you can. and stretch through both sides. Take a big breath in here because your back is nice and open. Exhale. Lowering down, try and relax. If it feels nice or if that feels too tight with the arms overhead, you can take more of a restorative pose. So you can bring the arms down and you can take the forehead to one side. Take a few breaths like that, and then just make sure to take your head the other way and take a few breaths there, and let the shoulders relax and the arms release. So the shoulders will roll forward, and that's absolutely fine. This is meant to be a restorative pose. Perfect. And then from there, use your hands to push yourself up. Bum comes to heels, and then you restack your spine piece by piece in the way we did, sequentially moving the spine in the way we did with the kind of spine curl. And that is your Meso moves for this week, so have fun with that. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to get in touch with Liz or any of the guys, and I'm more than happy to answer them. Yeah, hope you're doing good. Take care.